of the North Salmon Creek Neighborhood Association, and I'm here to welcome you all to organize the festivities.
If you want to use a mic.
What do you like? Is that better? All right, well, we'll just use this thing. Again, welcome. I want to introduce some of the other board members with us. We have Dale, who is our vice president, and Secretary Norman. Takes good notes and keeps all in mind there. Jim is our treasurer back there. Matt is one of our dynamic directors. And Jennifer is also one of our dynamic directors as well. We want to welcome you all. We are a totally volunteer organization. We do this because we love our area and we want to see it improve and continue to become a great place to live in our family. And so if you're online, if you have that desire as well, you're welcome to come and join us as we plan the meetings. We do 2 meetings a year, one in the fall and one in the springtime in April. And we do the simple planning meeting before that time and then do the meeting. So not a lot of commitment, but just get a lot of good support and good help. We had a great team. They managed to get it all put together. We do have some goodies, some things to eat over there from our friends at Waytime Market. And so please thank them if you ever stop by, come off your veil or get some gas. Say thank you from the neighborhood association for the great food. And feel free to come up at any time. We're kind of open meeting. Welcome to grab something. We will have some time afterwards to mingle and get together. So whatever you're comfortable with, you can do that. And I think that's about it for introductions. So we're going to start with pledge allegiance to the flag. Is it rise? And I will be in. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, let's start out with our financial report. Jim, we are loaded with cash, right?
Well, I am. During the past year, we earned 73 cents on our checking account. That is our total income. And we had one expense every year we have to file with the Secretary of State. Ed does that. And so $20 again for doing that. And I have a balance of $924.33. So it's been a long time for you.
Yeah, we have many years ago. But if anybody would like to donate, we do accept donations. Anywhere possible. All right, and annually, once a year, we do have elections. And all the positions on the board, the officer positions are open every year, this annual election. And if anybody's interested in running, nominating somebody else, hopefully they're here and they can accept that nomination. We take nominations from the floor as well. So we're going to go with the elections first. Next, the ballots.
Yes, ballots.
Joe President.
Yep.
I'm going to be passing out the ballots. Positions are president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer of the officers. And there's also directors. There's 7 districts in our North Salmon Creek Neighborhood Association. There's a map here showing how the districts are divided up. And we go in odd number years, we elect in the odd district directors. And in the even number of years, we select on the even districts. So this will be the odd ones, 1, 3, 5, and 7. I think back to an extra maps, we can pass one around. You're welcome to take this one.
That's okay. I just, yeah.
Yeah. Right, sorry,
I'd like to know.
yes. There's actually, only 6 districts numbered. District number 6 is an at-large, covers the whole area. So, 1 through 5 and 7 are right along the Salmon Creek Beltway. We're along there.
And you have to live in that district.
No, you do not. It's preferable if you do, but you do not, it's not required that you live in that district to be a director for that district. And also, if you're interested, anybody interested in volunteering, who wants to be, part of the organizing group with this, you can be appointed to the directorship, for any open spots that are open. And again, you don't have to live in that district to be appointed. It's pretty, open group. We need all the help we can get. So feel free to, if you have a mind to help us out, let me know, talk to me. Let that in mind, and we'll give you some more information. But I'm going to take any nominations from the floor for president. Is there any nominations? No nominations? All right. How about for vice president? Anybody want to take the job? Or nominate somebody to go? Nominations from the floor? None? And then secretary? Any nominations from the floor? All right. And then for treasurer, any nominations? All right, seeing no nominations, nobody's interested, feel free to vote your ballot and pass them to the right. Backwards. Like that. When we count it up, we'll give you the tally at the end of the
Yes, so
Once you,
did you mention district reps as well?
yes, district reps as well.
There's Franklin.
Yes. Right, and normally we'll have a representative from the sheriff's office come by and answer questions, give us a little update on what's going on with the sheriff's office. Debbie Kennison, is a representative liaison with the sheriff's office, called in sick today, so unfortunately. So pray for him, and hopefully we'll catch him at the next meeting. There's somebody, there. But we're gonna continue on, and tonight's topic is on traffic. A lot of traffic issues. We're gonna start tonight with what's going on at 179th Street. Everybody's been dying to know and see what is, how it's gonna be, and of course, how it affects us down here. So we get the overflow whenever there's a big event up in the fairgrounds up there, although I think with the traffic and things, we're gonna be impacted as well. With the people trying to get through or trying to avoid what's going on up there. Anyway, it's been nice to know what to expect and the timeline and what things are going. So really having that, and also another presentation on more local traffic issues. And so when we get to that point, we'll introduce them. So I want to introduce Laura Peterson, who's from the Department of Transportation of Washington State, and she's going to bring us up to date on what's happening and what to expect. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you very much. All right. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all. Just wanted to give you a brief project update on the I-5 179th Street Interchange Improvements Project. This is a mobility project, so it is meant to accommodate all the growth that's coming in the area. Next slide, please. With me tonight, I also have the project engineer of our office who is overseeing this work, Susan Feld, and with our communications group, Sarah Hannon Knight, and online is our region traffic engineer, Lisa Ray Gilbert. Next one, please. So just to start with a brief project overview. Project is located on I-5 at 179th Street. just on the north end of Vancouver urban area, transitioning into rural Clark County. Some key areas around the interchange that attract a lot of traffic. The Clark County Fairgrounds and Event Center. There's, you probably know, a 10-day fair every August, and then the event center has events all throughout the year. There's the Cascades Amphitheater that has concerts most weeks, May through October. There's also a lot of traffic related to the concerts. And of course, there are businesses and church and lots of residences, lots of people around the corridor. So the 179th Street and IFAC corridor users, serving commuters, great. Definitely businesses, event traffic, like I mentioned, local residents, emergency services, and others. Next slide, please. The interchange project will improve safety and mobility at the interchange by replacing the existing signals that are out there today with roundabouts. And we'll be replacing the existing bridges that carry I-5 over 179th Street and addressing fish passage barriers through the area. And all of this will enhance access for drivers, freight, for all the users of the corridor. Safety and mobility. Mobility is a big topic at this location. Roundabouts, besides reducing serious crashes, they will keep traffic moving smoothly through the interchange. We are also including new shared use paths and crossings so that there's safe routes for bicyclists and pedestrians and other people who might go through the interchange area. And will include upgraded ramps, lighting, signs that also enhances safety and mobility. And growth. As any of you who probably driven down 179th Street know, there's a lot of development, a lot of houses going up, there are businesses coming, lots of growth in the area and beyond the actual corridor. So the interchange improvements will support this growth by reducing congestion and improving access to I-5. The project is working in close coordination with Clark County. There are projects along the 179th Street corridor that are Clark County projects that our project ties into. So we've been working to make that a seamless transportation system for all the users. Next slide, please. Right, timeline for the interchange project. The project was first identified in the Connecting Washington funding package back in 2015. And it was one of the projects that was at the end of the time funding package. So it was to receive design money in the 23-25 5 We've been actively coordinating with Clark County on the corridor since about 2017. And in 2019, the legislature gave WSDOT $500,000 to do an interchange concept study. So we worked hard during that time frame to conduct traffic modeling, to look at different interchange types and evaluate those, and just develop the concept for the interchange. We did quite a lot of outreach to the community at that time to understand needs, understand concerns. We had an open house survey. We went to the Clark County Fair for 10 days and interacted with folks along with Clark County at that time. We got some great feedback from the public. And then fast forward to 2024, that's when we received design funding. We also went out to the public at that time with another open house and a public survey to gather feedback. And all of that helped shape the project concept. And now, 2025, we are in the design phase. So this is the detailed design phase where we build more detail into that concept and refine those details. We plan to advertise the interchange project for construction in 2028. So quite a bit of time between now and then to refine details. And physical construction is anticipated to start in 2029 with construction date complete around 2031. Next slide. So community engagement, we spent a lot of time working to understand what matters to the community. And we've heard a lot of great things. Some of the key things that we heard are that safety and congestion are top priorities. Definitely event traffic is a concern. We heard that a lot. People want us to keep traffic flowing and improve bike and pedestrian access. There are not good bike and pedestrian facilities through the interchange area right now. Folks want us to minimize construction impacts on businesses and the neighborhoods. And vehicle sizes, we've got some excellent input from the public on the vehicles that use this interchange area. Really good detailed information about truck lengths and axles and all the different types of vehicles that use the interchange. So that's really, really helpful for us to be able to accommodate all of those vehicles. And then lastly, we heard about travel patterns, when people use the interchange, when they drive through there, how we can, are helping us to avoid those peak times when people are there and make our construction minimize impacts to folks that are driving through the area. So that's what we heard. Where we are now, we are refining the interchange design. We are evaluating bike and pedestrian facilities, and we're continuing to coordinate with Clark County on the corridor projects. And what's next? We will be completing design details and environmental review and permitting. We'll be developing construction staging and event traffic plan. We'll plan to hold another open house in 2026 to share project information and get additional feedback from the public. And continue coordination with Clark County and local partners and all those entities along the course that can be affected. Next slide, please. I just wanted to orient you to kind of who's doing what on the corridor because there are several entities working on the corridor. So you can see on the graphic here in the red, number 1, that shows I-5 and the interchange itself. So WSDOT is designing and overseeing construction on the interchange project. So that's what I'm talking about tonight. We are taking care of I-5, the on and off ramps and the ramp terminals. And our construction is anticipated to start in 2029. And then number 2, Clark County has a project that is just west of the interchange on the left side of the screen. And that is the Delphel Realignment Project. And that will take the south side of Delphel and the north side of Delphel and bring them together so that they meet at one intersection. Currently, the north side of Delphel is offset from the south side of Delphel, and it interferes with operations along the corridor. So that construction is planned to start in 2029. The number 3 on the screen, just east of the interchange, is the Clark County project that is the 15th Avenue Extension Project. It will extend 15th Avenue north and then connect in with 10th Avenue. And there is a small section between the interchange and this project that we call the gap section that we're including in the WSDOT project on Clark County. So we'll be designing and constructing that one piece. That Clark County project will start construction in 2029. And then number 4, further east on the corridor, is the 15th to 26th Avenue project, and that's a Clark County project as well. It will extend improvements on 179th Street between 15th and 26th. And that construction starts in 2028. Next slide, please. This shows our project concept. The colored line work is what WSDOT is designing and overseeing construction on. And this is just a little more zoomed in picture of what I just showed. You can see on the left side of the screen here, that Delphel Realignment project that the county is undertaking. That's a really nice project in that it creates a nice straight shot local arterial on the west side of I-5. And then similarly, the county, on the right side of the screen is extending 15th Avenue to meet up with 10th Avenue. That's another north-south arterial corridor, local corridor, in the area. And then I-5, of course, in the middle. So there's some really good options for travelers to choose a north-south route. And one real benefit of all these projects put together is that the whole 179th Street corridor flows a lot better. We remove some of those alternating traffic issues that we're seeing today, where maybe a local road will tie into 179 and the traffic doesn't flow very well in those spots. This North Delville spot and this Union Road spot here are two. Next slide, please. So project scope. The project scope for the interchange project is to remove the existing signals and build 2-lane roundabouts at the northbound and southbound ramp terminals. We are also replacing the 2 bridges that carry I-5 over 179th Street. They are currently 3-span bridges, and we're making them 2 2-span bridges. One span will cross 179th Street, and it'll be about more than twice the span of what is currently right over 179th Street. So it's a much bigger span. The other span will cross a new open channel, which is basically a stream area through there that allows for improved fish passage and stormwater flow. Another scope element is to raise I-5 by about 4 to 5 feet. And we will be rebuilding the roadway as we raise I-5 until it touches back down into the existing I-5 pavement. And we will be lengthening the southbound off-ramp from I-5 and modifying other ramps as needed. We'll also be installing ramp meters on the northbound on-ramp and the southbound on-ramp. That helps meter the flow of traffic onto the freeway to make the overall freeway operate more efficiently, as well as the overall system. Next slide, please. Other scope elements as part of the interchange project are bike and pedestrian improvements. We will be building 2 shared use paths along 179th Street. One is north of 179th, one is south of 179th. They're 10 feet wide, and they tie into the county projects on the east and the west. So for users, they'll have a seamless way to get from east to west, both on the north side and the south side of 179th. There will also be safe crossings of 179th and the ramps. Fish passage. So there is currently an existing small pipe under I-5 that is a fish barrier. We're replacing that pipe with a new open stream channel on the north side of 179th Street. And the new stream will run under that second span of the I-5 bridges that I mentioned, as well as the ramps. That stream connects to another stream segment that the county is building as part of the Delco Refinement Project. So it's one continuous stream. And it will have a minimum opening of about 18 feet under the ramps. And other scope elements that we're building would be drainage systems to manage runoff, to collect all of that stormwater runoff and treat it. We'll be including new traffic technology, signs, and street lighting, and acquiring property rights as needed to just support the improvements. Next slide, please. And so why roundabouts? Roundabouts, they're very efficient at moving traffic. And that's what we need at this interchange, is to be able to move traffic efficiently. They work really well, and they have fewer long backups. They're also very good at reducing those really serious crashes, injury crashes, like those T-bone crashes that you sometimes see at signalized intersections. the way that roundabouts slow people down and curve people coming into them really helps to minimize crashes like that. They also are able to handle all users, freight, commuters, bikes, pedestrians, trucks. We get a lot of questions about trucks and roundabouts. So trucks can navigate the roundabouts by driving up and over the truck apron. So you may have seen in a roundabout this center piece that has some curving and then a flat spot. That's actually meant for large trucks when they go around the curve to have their back axles right up on that. It's called a truck apron. So that's intentional. And they also can straddle lanes in a roundabout, two-lane roundabout, for instance. That's intentional and allowed for. But one of the beauties of roundabouts is that they're very malleable, very site-specific, so you can design them to handle whatever traffic you know is going to be there. So that's why that public survey about vehicles was so helpful for us, so we know who uses support for it. Roundabouts are also very good for long-term maintenance and costs. You don't have the ongoing electrical costs and signal operation, for instance, in a roundabout. And then event traffic. Roundabouts handle event traffic better than the existing signalized intersections before you need annual traffic control. So they just work a lot longer before you have to get fighters out there during an event. For large events, say large concerts, for instance, temporary manual traffic control or fighters will still be needed just like they are today. And that would be with any interchange type, that would be needed. Next slide, please. So that's kind of a snapshot of where we've been and where we're going. Like I said, we're starting the detailed design phase. And so if you want to keep up to date with the project, feel free to visit our project webpage. You can just search in a browser, I-5 179th Street Interchange Improvements, and you'll find it there. You can sign up for our project emails and then watch for a 2026 open house. And if that QR code is helpful, you can use that to access. But maybe leave that up there for a little bit, and I'm happy to take any questions if we have time. Go ahead.
Can you explain what you mean by acquire property rights?
So I'm wondering if we go back to the slide that shows the project concept.
So I'm going forward.
Yeah, no problem.
You want the one that has the whole big.
That would be great. There you go.
Let me slide this over and down.
So, like in some of the corners here, we might need a little more property to build the project than what WSDOT currently owns. So
That part I get. I guess I'm asking how. How do you do that?
so we have a property, a real estate services group that would work with the property owner and say that we would need a section of their property. They would appraise that for fair market value, and then work with that property owner to purchase that for WSDOT so that we can have all the rights we need to be able to build the improvements.
Do you allow that in your schedule in case there's a problem?
We do. In fact, the environmental review process plus the right-of-way process are always kind of the longest timelines in a project, including this project. So design is much faster, but some of those, especially because they have unknowns, those take a lot longer. So yes. Other questions? Yes.
With these roundabouts, where do you guys, when you say that studies show that they're better? And personally, being on the ground, I don't know what studies you guys are looking at. The ones in France, I've driven those, but they're huge and it's way different.
Yeah, they are.
But over here, lights just tend to work a little bit better.
Yeah, and every intersection, you have to look at all of the needs for every intersection. So roundabouts are not right for every intersection for sure.
So where are you guys finding your studies from? Where are you studying?
So we do traffic modeling where we, there are folks that do kind of like mock up, traffic projections, if you will. So they know how many vehicles might arrive at an intersection, and they built that into a computer model, and they predict where those cars will go and where they might impact one another as far as like capacity, you need this much capacity on this leg of an intersection and this much on a leg of an intersection. So it's basically a computer model that looks at this specific location with the traffic volumes that we know are coming and the ones that are coming in the future. And they play all that out to see where the backups might be and to see if a roundabout might work or if it might not work, or if a signal would work or some other type of layout would work. So it's a very site-specific traffic model that's done. Yeah.
I'm a roundabout fan. However, I do know that there are good roundabouts and there are some where they have cars coming in and they have to make split-second decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And people, we aren't good at that here in this country. Okay, so, and there are traffic jams that result from one up by Costco, up by Ridgefield there. Okay, it is really kind of horrible right now. Okay, so I think the type of roundabout design you have is seriously going to determine if it's a successful one or just another obstruction.
I agree. And I think as an agency and just as an industry, we've learned a lot about roundabouts over time. Some of the first ones maybe were not as good. And then we've learned a few things. I know even in the design that we've done in more recent years, we keep tweaking the fine details of a roundabout because we've seen how they actually, like the entry angle, for instance, is one that we tweak because that really helps direct drivers in the right direction, and then it helps people who are in the roundabout know what to expect. So I think we're always learning, but I think in general they really do move traffic well and are safe. So, but I think you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
Laura, can you, the roundabouts are at the ramp terminal.
Yes.
Can you point out the roundabouts on that, on that design?
So the existing I-5 ramps right about here, and the signals are at these two locations. So these are the ramp terminals, and it's where the ramps come together. So there's one there, and there's one right here. So these are the two roundabouts that the WSDOT project is undertaking.
So those aren't completely circular roundabouts, the way they're run.
Yeah.
That might be important to for us to know as these comments are being made.
Yeah, and we try to make sure that when we design a roundabout and a ramp terminal, that we don't have people traveling in a way that might be going the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the key aspects. Yeah.
How do you handle pedestrian traffic in situations like that?
That's a great question. We have these shared use paths that are on the north and south side of 179th Street. So we try to make sure that we orient the crossing of the ramps so that traffic that is coming around on the ramps is looking in the right direction to be able to see those pedestrians and have a safe crossing. And then sometimes we also cross 179th Street. So for instance, we have a crossing right here of 179th Street, and it's in one of the narrowest spots to cross the lanes, which is always helpful for the pedestrians. If they have to cross a really long distance, there's more exposure to traffic. So we've chosen the shortest crossing distances on purpose for the crossing of 179th Street here and here. And then we also provide a refuge in between the directions that they cross. So for instance, traffic is driving eastbound here, and the pedestrians are crossing 2 lanes of eastbound traffic. And then there's a widened spot in the median as a refuge for the pedestrians before they need to cross the other 2 lanes of westbound. That's one example.
Just curious, if you've been able to use that roundabout, is that called Pioneer? Goes into Costco, that area. It's the first one that you run into going west.
Uh-huh.
Have you been able to use that?
I've been through there. I might not have paid attention to it as a traffic person, just as a person going to Costco, or through the area. Do you have a question about that or a thought about that?
Well, I was just wondering how because it seems like there's a lot of backup in there.
Mm-hmm.
And having been to Europe a lot, those roundabouts flow beautiful. That doesn't. And I was wondering, I-5 is going to have an inordinate amount of traffic.
Yes.
So I was wondering how these roundabouts might compare to, because that was put in just a few months ago, and it's not working. And I must say, we have nothing to do with that. We went to In-N-Out last night for the first time, and it was a great burger. Like getting out of there was quite amazing.
And I really can't speak to that roundabout, but because they're site specific, that's where that traffic modeling comes in for this location. So based on that future traffic that we know is coming, that's projected to grow over time, we captured what that is in the future and then modeled it here so that we can understand the backups and know whether or not something like this works well. So we've done that, and this particular site works very well for the traffic.
I wonder how they missed out on the Pioneer one. Why did that not work?
I don't know, I can't speak to it. I'm not familiar with the design.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Go ahead.
So I take it, washed out, if I say that, had nothing to do with that roundabout that went in by Costco.
Right.
Right.
That's
a city.
of Bridgefield.
So there's not going to be anything done so that traffic going to the event, the amphitheater is not taxing 10th Avenue and 179.
So the event traffic, there will definitely be backups with event traffic because there's so much traffic. We would have to widen the freeway to be able to handle event traffic.
It actually needs its own exit off the freeway so that it's not taxing 179 or 10th Avenue. Right now, it's obstructing businesses and residences that live along there, and it's awful.
Yeah, and that's the manual traffic control is absolutely needed.
The manual traffic control is horrible because they will not allow residents or business people that live along those roads to access their property. It is horrible, and it needs addressed, whether it be county or state.
Yeah.
Just to jump in with a little bit more information. My name is Brian, the project manager for the Northeast 179th Street projects. I think speaking on the roundabout there at Delta, it's a major point in considering the amphitheater traffic, like you mentioned. Just supporting what Alora said. The modeling that was done here took into consideration both the county roundabouts adjacent to the interchange and the interchange itself. And from that modeling and from those studies, it was determined that the traffic that's going to be moving through here, the capacity that this roundabout can handle both WSDOT and the Delta roundabout is able to handle more capacity, like you mentioned before, manual controls needed, flaggers, stopping traffic. But for the large events, manual control will still be needed. At this point, I think manual control is about 5 to 8 times a year based on historical experience. But with this design, those should definitely be fewer. One other thing to consider is while thinking through that traffic that goes through to the amphitheater, one of the things that we took into consideration was how much traffic is backing up specifically on the freeways and how that moves through the roundabouts, through Delta, into the amphitheater. And one of the strategies that we implemented specifically for the Delta roundabout, for the large events traffic, again, it should be fewer with this design, but we'll still need that manual control input. The pavement on the north side of the Delta roundabout has been widened to allow for temporary 3 lanes to go through there into the amphitheater event, specifically for ingress when it's peak traffic time, everybody's trying to get to the event. We don't want too much backup on the freeways or on the local streets 179. So that temporary 3 lanes does allow for traffic to go through to the amphitheater, which should add more to the flow of traffic and capacity for traffic in this area. That being said, to your note of businesses and traffic, when we have these large events, which will be fewer, where we have manual control, but we'll still need to be out there, there will be times where, for example, traffic coming from Northeast 179 heading to the amphitheater might need to hold off while the traffic from the freeway is directed through those 3 lanes into the amphitheater. Now, that delay is anticipated to be there, but it's not anticipated to be worse than it was before. And the amount of individuals out there flagging and trying to control traffic is going to be significantly reduced because of roundabouts. You can temporarily halt one traffic movement to allow for to prioritize another, for example, for the freeway, and then quickly move that and allow traffic to go. So there's going to be times where some sections will need to be delayed a bit to prioritize certain movements so that the whole corridor can function better. And this is specifically during those large events where we have thousands of people coming in. And with this configuration, there should be less need for individuals to be out there controlling the movement, but there will be some of that.
But that doesn't solve the problem of the people that live there and work there. That you're saying they're gonna prioritize the traffic getting off the freeway to go to the event. What about the local people that live and work there? How do they get
The
prioritized?
issue keeps coming up is the event itself bottlenecks the road. You could put as many lanes as you want, but there's still get people in there that it stops everybody. And then common sense goes out the window when it comes to traffic.
It's a real big challenge to manage that with you, which is why we took sort of that consideration for adding lanes.
Are they going to add other access to the event center to help out for that?
So another strategy that we haven't dug too deep in, but it's on the agenda to pursue further is once we get these roadways constructed, we're gonna have more access ways where we might route traffic. Another thing to note is the conditional use permit for the amphitheater and their exit strategy was at a time where we didn't have as much access, and we're gonna have more with these new roadways that we're constructing. So one of those approaches is to revisit that conditional use permit and see, given the new roadways access we have, what's the best way to manage traffic to the I-5 specifically, but like egress events, everyone's leaving the applicant. So the infrastructure is better. There's still some work to do with how traffic is gonna move. We do have more roadways to manage traffic around, so we have that that added benefit to be able to work through that. So we have a few options. Just wanted to know some of the discussions going on, some of the benefits of all this work taking place that could help improve those issues that we have now.
And I'm Marilyn McCall. I'm the neighborhood program coordinator, so I am at all the neighborhood meetings. The neighborhood that is out there that is in that amphitheater area, the amphitheater worked with them and they printed up cards for the people that live out there, and it's supposed to, some of them have been saying that it's helping some of them a little bit
That's what they keep telling me.
because they're supposed to be able to get through and show the cards that they have, and they're supposed to be,
That is
the
what
flaggers are supposed to be letting them through.
But we live right on 10th Avenue. And we have never received a card, never, ever. And have
Get with me before you leave and I'll make sure that you get one.
Okay.
And I know you want to move on.
Yes, I
I
do.
have a quick question.
All right, quick one.
For, you put the website up there, and I heard you say earlier that this is your process to get more input, right? Is the website the way we do it, find something there and put something more on this?
Yeah, so there's contact information on our website, so you can always send it an email. Or you can sign up for, getting information pushed out to you when we have updates, it'll go out in an email format. So yeah, feel free to visit our website, and that's a good connection.
Just a quick comment here, the cards that you mentioned that we have one of those cards. And how many times I've had argument with people.
And they're not letting you through?
Well, they let you through, but you gotta go through
A process.
yeah, exactly, and I understand. Just not, it is.
We've been working with, they changed the management of the amphitheater and it's been getting better, but every time they change the management, then we go through a whole other process with a whole new management.
Talk to kids out there in the street that are trying to manage traffic. Anyway.
It's been great. Thank you, thank you. That's where I wanted to end it. There are avenues for getting your voice heard to these people. They covet your input. They look for it. They schedule things in to get as much as they can. So yes, they appreciate your concerns. They want to know about it. It doesn't mean things are going to be fixed tomorrow, but they're going to be working on it. And so the more input they can get, the more real life experiences they can tabulate and collate, the better the overall results going to be. And that's why we bring them out here to these meetings to make it a communication event, not simply an announcement that this is going to happen. They want that input. We want to be able to provide that input. This is one of the avenues. They merely mentioned the Fairgrounds Association. Another neighborhood association does the same thing that we're doing, is trying to get the information out, trying to get input from you all on how it's going, and so that we can communicate better with the people. They're all looking for it, and so do check out that website if you're interested. If you want to give your input, do that. And I think Laura will be around for a little while longer, so you can talk to her directly and get some more information on that. So we're going to move from the big state level to more of a local traffic issues. I know last time we had the folks talking about the restriping that was going to go on in front of the schools out there. Looks like there's pretty well all completed out there. Hopefully you're finding traffic very little impact on your day-by-day commute out there. Maybe perhaps, I'm not sure, is it maybe even a little better during those rush times in the morning, the drop-off times, the pickup times in the afternoons. Again, give your feedback in there. I'll let them know these are works in progress all the way. So they'll try the things out that they think are going to work and then adapt as they go. We're going to move from that to more of a local level in that we talked about the 139th Street. And now we're going to have some people talking about the local arterials and what we can do on your local traffic. If you're finding your street has become a cutoff point, a shortcut for other people to come in, we've got some grants and things that are going to help us out with that. So going from the state level, last time we talked about for the major arterial on 139. Now we're gonna go to more of a local area, your neighborhood streets. Do you have a question, quick question before we start?
I was just wondering, you said that we can put our input in on that traffic section?
Yes,
Where do you do that at?
they had at the website that they have, and Laura will be able to give you more.
Cause I emailed 2 sheriffs about it. I called 311 all the time. I had contact with this guy.
So are you talking about the 179th Street?
We were talking about the 139th Street.
Yes, yes, that's a continuing problem that everybody knows about. And
Is somebody gonna do something about it?
they're doing what they can.
Well, who's doing it?
The sheriff's office will monitor that. They,
I
I've talked
call
to
them 2 or 3 times a week and they call me back and they say, well, it's up to the principal. I contact the principal. He says it's up to the county.
yeah,
I'm in.
So whose job is it?
it's a combination of both. They need to talk about it together. Jim,
What issue are we talking
she's talking about 139th Street.
by the
Where?
middle school?
In front of the Skyview High School when they come to pick up their kids. School gets out at 3:10 and people start blocking that lane. The north lane, they start blocking that and the bike lane starting at 2:30.
Mhm.
And I called the police, I called 311 because that's what the county told me to do. What the principals told me to do, I called their office.
Yeah.
I mean, whose job is it?
To do which? I mean, it's,
You can't park in a moving lane. You
They're-
can't block traffic.
yeah, they make the intersection open. They do reserve that far right lane for the right turn only. So,
Who reserves it?
the county,
For what? There's no reserved lane for a turn into a school.
no,
You
there's
can't block it.
a designated right turn lane.
It doesn't say that and it's blocked for over half an hour for people to pick up their,
Right. That's why they provide the other lane to make for a
it
passenger.
doesn't work.
Let them know that.
I have. Who am I supposed to call now?
You're doing the right things. Unfortunately, you may be the only one.
I don't think I'm the only one,
Yes,
but that's a ridiculous.
I guess it's just a counterpoint. I drive that section all the time. I live west of all of that restriping and reconfiguration.
yes,
And I just personally find it to be much better traffic flow. I know there's the backup that's there now, but
yes,
it was there before.
right.
The restriping and the redesign.
Mhm.
I think just, it's my comment, and maybe this is a part of the problem in responding to all of us, is there's various comments coming in from community, both positive and negative.
Right.
I'm trying to make the positive comment that in my experience driving that in just the past few weeks,
Mhm.
I think it's a good or better traffic flow, and I think it's safe
Okay,
what they have done there.
sure.
I don't think it altered and I could be wrong in this, but just from observing, I drive through, I don't get in that right turn lane to
Right.
turn into the school or come out of it. But my observation is that backup hasn't changed much,
Mhm.
except for the roadway where they've tried to stripe. So,
Right.
so that you
Keep out.
local traffic can get through
Intersection.
there. I think that's a definite improvement.
Okay.
If
That could be an
I'm,
issue.
if I'm remembering right, at the last meeting, somebody was saying that they had requested there be 2 lanes coming into the school. And that the school declined that. Was that correct?
I don't know what the school.
But if there's still an issue, I know that it's the people going in, the people coming to pick up their students.
So
So I would potentially call the school.
So the principal has told me that he sends out newsletters and he asks people to park at Alki. They have parking at Alki, but their kids would have to walk up to Alki to get picked up. You know, so that's an issue. But just so you guys know, that's not a right turn lane. It actually has those 4 signs in white with red light, red writing on them that say no parking.
And they stop
And they're
anyway.
parking there. You are parked there if you're over 15 minutes. A half an hour is just far too long to be blocking an entire lane. And something needs to be addressed.
Understood. David Jardine, Traffic Engineering Section Manager. When we were looking at some of the improvements to the school, just to kind of be really quick to see if I can let you know what I know about that situation. When we started kind of looking at how we wanted to reconfigure the roads in front of Skyview, in front of Chinook and Alki, that was one of the very first things that we noticed. We went out on site, we stood on the sidewalk and watched people arrive a half an hour early and fill up that inside lane right up against the curb. And then they wouldn't move. And then the school would let out, they'd hop in the car, and then people would start whipping into the middle lane and taking off and doing whatever they're going to do. But also what we saw is that people that were entering into the school, into that entryway, they have a really long straightaway up to their front door, and then it moves back around, and then it comes out to the signal. The circulation on site is not really good, and nobody is kind of helping traffic move forward to continuously, move that queue out of the right lane. So, so you have a couple of things going on. One is people are queuing in that right lane, and then they're stopping early, picking up their kids and looping back around really quick instead of going all the way through and back out. So they're the on-site circulation isn't working very well, and there isn't that encouragement. But what we tried to do kind of initially before we did the big striping project and all of that is we worked with the sheriff's office to try and get some enforcement going. We created a flyer to give to the school to hand out to their parents and constituents to try and get them to park it out, get them to do like at the airport where they have a call, come and pick me up, mom and dad, I'm ready to go. Down at the park, I think so we were trying to look at areas where they could wait and queue on site out of the through lanes and then arrive when school let out instead of parking there half an hour early. So that resulted in no parking signs I can't remember what it was. I think it was no parking signs or no loitering or something. Yeah. There's an RCW that provides Revised Code of Washington, RCW, that talks about standing or stopping on a through. And that's what we were trying to accomplish with the no parking signs and trying to get these flyers out to people so that we could explain, hey, you can't do this. We were trying to get enforcement out there. Unfortunately, enforcement is very difficult. They have such few officers, but we were trying to get them out there on maybe a day or two, like at the beginning of the school year, to maybe not ticket people yet, but just, provide them a flyer and say, hey, you need to be moving on or park up there or whatever, just to try and get them out of that inside lane to keep traffic flowing through there. So we have been trying to work with that, but it still is an issue with the on-site circulation for the school. And the county can only push the school so much or make recommendations to the school. And it's up to the school now to really kind of take that and see what they can do as a part of, their release of their students. So I don't really have a good answer for you. Those signs were placed in an effort to try and get people out of that right turn lane, but we do know that it is an issue, an ongoing issue.
My cop called me back and said they all laughed at me.
How is that?
Pull up your big girl panties and make them better. Yeah.
How is that outside lane, that westbound outside lane that gets queued and stacked up now? How is it striped?
Across the frontage of the school, it's still a 2-lane through. So It's 2 lanes westbound through the signal, 2 receiving lanes on the opposite side of the signal, and then it necks down kind of as you go through that horizontal curve. It necks down into a single lane with a buffered bike lane and a bike.
So both lanes westbound through that area are striped
Or through.
or through.
Yes, that's correct.
No right turn.
There is
No
no,
right turn striping arrows.
that is correct. There's no dedicated right turn lane ahead of that. That's one of the things that we looked at initially, but that was kind of let go because there was going to be a queue there regardless at that point. If you're going to just make it a drop lane or make the lane stop on the other side of the stop lane, then we were always going to end up with a queue right there because people weren't getting into the site anyway. So
This might be a question or a comment for both Laura and you. This goes back to the comment that was made during the state presentation about how designs of roundabouts are done. And I think Laura was pointing out the traffic modeling or projections ahead. Are there any after design and construction studies done to determine effectiveness of roundabouts? That was a question earlier about how do you determine whether roundabouts really move traffic better, make mobility better, or not? And so the answer to that is yes, after design and construction.
yes.
studies are done.
So with regard to the school, as we're talking about the school, we looked at the signal timing to see if there was an issue or if there was something that we could do to make the traffic flow a little better through there. It wasn't a traffic signal timing issue. It was an on-site circulation issue. So we didn't change the timing, although I think we did change the timing slightly because to reduce some of the queues in the other directions, like eastbound in the left turn lane, trying to get people kind of flushed out of there. So some minor signal modifications, but we were trying to help that situation with the knowing that we were going to be reducing the number of lanes as you move through the corridor to the west of that signal. So we were just trying to make everything work together. So anyway, that was probably a long explanation for something that we could dive really deep into, but
Maybe for next meeting. If y'all want to. Bring it back and do it post.
yes, sir.
I remember somebody spoke to us several years ago, said that is the longest school zone in the state.
I believe I've heard that my own self.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's part of the issue.
Yes, it is a very long school zone.
Okay, so are we ready to talk about local streets? And so the program we're going to talk to you about tonight is the Neighborhood Traffic Calming Program that Clark County has implemented. The county council adopted it on May 20th of this year, after a number of years of analyzing the program and figuring out how to design it to make it work for our community. And so the neighborhood, we're going to get into a little bit about what is the neighborhood traffic management program that we have, a little history and background on the program, as well as a background on the traffic engineering team that will be dedicated to the implementation of the program, current tools and limitations that we're trying to address through this program, as well as an overview of how the program will function, like how it will run every year. And it's anticipated to be an annual program. So every year we will go through the process of working with the neighborhoods, working with the residents to identify local street problems that we can address through the funding that's dedicated for this program. And then we're also going to talk about some of the example traffic calming measures that are available and the types of support and ultimately implementation.
So what is the neighborhood traffic management program? So it's a program that's designed primarily to help address issues, safety and functional issues on local streets. And so local streets is a term maybe you're not as familiar with how to apply or where to apply it. It's essentially the smaller streets in your residential subdivision areas. So it's not the big streets like 134th or 179th. It's the more local streets that carry predominantly the residential traffic. And what we're trying to address through the neighborhood traffic management program is addressing some of the challenges that you might be experiencing in your neighborhood or on your street. So are you experiencing cut-through traffic because people are trying to avoid congestion on a street like 134th? And is that cut-through traffic resulting in a lot of speeding on your local street? That's the type of issue that this program is really designed to help address. So speeding, cut-through traffic, and improving conditions for all road users.
Sorry, I went forward. This thing doesn't want to do what I want it to do. There you go.
Again, I'm David Jardine, Traffic Engineering Section Manager. This slide kind of goes over some of the limitations that we have today that you guys have probably even realized your own selves when you're calling in. And one of the very first one is the Sheriff Office enforcement. There aren't too many officers out there that will call and respond to neighborhood issues. A lot of times what they say is call us when it's happening. And if we have somebody, we can get out there and see it. And I hear that frequently, like with parking issues and stuff like that. So if there's a illegal parker or something, they can call, and if they have an officer, they can send somebody out to take care of it. But with regard to speeding, they don't see it, can't get them out there. So that's one of our limitations here. Speed feedback and radar devices. We do have these kind of devices. These are the kind that you see like here, where it says the speed limit up top, and then it gives you instant feedback when you pass that sign how fast you're going. We do have signs like that. We have temporary mount signs that are on poles, like this one in the picture. But a lot of times, what we'll do, it's a little easier to move about, pick up, and do what we need to do. We have these type of devices mounted on trailers, and we'll set 2 out at each roadway segment that we're trying to have those feedback signs available. We do have a list of locations that we move these signs around. We typically keep them in place for a week or 2. Then we move them to the next location. And the ultimate goal with these is to help try and reduce the speed in your neighborhood. Kind of make it an awareness deal for the drivers that may be speeding through your neighborhood, just how fast you are really going. So that's speed feedback. Traffic counts. When we get a call from you folks and you're talking about speeding, you're talking about maybe some cut through traffic or higher volumes of traffic that you're seeing in your neighborhood, you give us a call. And as a part of customer service, what we try and do is we'll go out and we'll collect the data. The tubes that you see crossing the road, many times we're collecting speed and volume data. And that is to help us to understand what the speeds are on your road. What is the volume on your road? So those are the data collection types of units that you might see out there in your neighborhood when we're dealing with a speeding or volume issue. But without this neighborhood traffic management program, the data that we collect, we can tell you what the speeds are, we can tell you what the volume is, but we really don't have any tools without this program. So that's what this neighborhood traffic management program is all about. Why do we need the neighborhood traffic management program? So this picture here identifies customer service calls in the county. Down here, you can see the city of Vancouver, so that's, doesn't have any red dots in there, but you can kind of see in the more urban areas of the county, that's kind of where the bulk of the calls are coming from. My experience in being in this position, I get to delegate the customer service calls to my traffic engineers. A lot of the calls that we receive are due to speeding. So this program will provide a consistent, transparent process for addressing traffic and traffic complaints. It will give us more tools in our tool bag to try and help reduce speeds. And the goal here is to enhance the livability and the equity across the neighborhoods as we apply this program.
So this is a slide that shows the overall process that the program will implement each year. And the idea is that step one, which is the step where the neighborhood associations work together to help identify some of the local street traffic issues in your neighborhood and maybe prioritize them. I provided on the table our draft submittal application form where once our website is up and running, the goal is we will start implementing this program starting in January of 2026. The website will include the process. It will include the application form. It will also help clarify what things the county is going to be looking at when they're selecting which projects are going to be funded each particular calendar year. So we're going to get a lot of requests. We're not going to be able to afford to fund them all. But what we would like to do is fund some of the bigger problems and make a difference in the livability of your neighborhoods. And then maybe show the council that it's working and get additional funding as we move forward. Step two is once the applications have been received, the county will collect data and do analysis to determine what are some of the safety or traffic accident numbers in that particular corridor. Are there other issues that we can address through this, including speeding? We can put the tubes out there and collect the data specifically for the corridor and see what is the speeding issue really like. And then once we have completed the evaluation, then we will collaborate with the neighborhoods for the projects that are going to move forward and come up with a design, which you're going to see a little bit more about what those designs can look like here in a few slides. But you're going to be able to work with the county staff specifically on coming up with a design that works to address the specific need that's been identified. And then the implementation would occur. And all of this would happen within one calendar year. That's the idea. So this is a fairly quick turnaround process. And then we start all over in the next year. Okay.
So some of the new tools that may be in our toolkit or that we'll have in our toolkit, some horizontal measures, the traffic circles, you've maybe seen those. That's this guy right here. They're not super huge, but they're a traffic circle, elevated curb in the middle of an intersection so that you have to slow down to go around the island. Curb extensions, trying to think of a location on that one.
In Vancouver on Main Street, between McLaughlin and Fourth Plain, are a number of instances where the curb extension or fall.
The curb kind of jets out into the lane a little bit. A lot of times you see those at intersections. It reduces the pedestrian exposure by creating this little bump out where the pedestrian can stage between the cross, and you have a receiving one that's very similar in nature, kind of a little curb bump out there. Those can occur in neighborhoods, and that's part of the tool bag in this program. Pedestrian or median islands. Median islands you might have seen, like a landscaped one pulling into a new subdivision or something. They have a median island that's kind of narrow, and it's kind of short as well, but it separates the inbound from the outbound lane. That kind of median island. Pedestrian refuge, kind of the same idea. An elevated curbing where pedestrians can walk halfway across the street, stage in that little pedestrian refuge island, and then move across the other lane as well. I'll move on to the next one here. Vertical measures, speed humps. And what those are, speed cushions and raised crosswalks.
These are things that they can ask for. I don't think that this has been clearly, that they're clearly been stated so far in the slides.
Right. So all of these measures here are these tools that we're talking about. These are tools that we have in our tool bag. So we'll go out and we'll collect the data. We'll look at different types of traffic calming measures to see what may work to help reduce the potential for whatever issue that was identified. And at that point, we'll come up with some recommendations. We'll that stage 3, where we're engaging the public or engaging the community, we'll come at you with some what we found, what some recommended traffic calming measures might be for your neighborhood, and we can talk to you about what might fit best or what you believe might fit best, and see what we can do there. Move on. Some low-cost tools, signing and striping. Optical speed bars is one of them. I'm not sure if you are familiar or have gotten as far south as 88th Street between 94th Avenue and 72nd down near Costco and Home Depot area. We installed some optical speed bars. That's these guys here. And the concept behind that is that those painted lines start really far apart and then they narrow up or get closer together as you move down the road. The concept is that that as you're traveling through those, it feels like you're going faster, so you take your foot off the gas. So that's the concept behind optical speed bars. Marked crosswalks is another signing and striping deal. But what kind of has me really excited is the community engagement that we'll get to do. We get to come out and talk with you folks and make sure that we're addressing what you guys need addressed.
So the program anticipates having dedicated staff. What went to council and was adopted was 2 additional full-time employees to manage the program. They will be overseeing the submittal application process, maintenance of the website, reaching out to applicants if there's questions about requests that were submitted to get further clarification. They will be working on collecting the data necessary to make the decision on which projects will move forward. And ultimately, they will also be the ones working directly with you folks on getting the feedback necessary on which of those tools we just showed you might be an appropriate solution for a problem that you have. And then the goal is that the county would receive fewer calls about safety issues because we're helping address them through this program.
So the timeline for this program. So the neighborhood traffic management program, we presented this to council during a work session earlier this year. We presented this program to our planning commission and our development engineering advisory board in April of this year. County council adopted the neighborhood traffic management program in May. And our program launch is scheduled for January of 2026. Super excited about that. And then to do kind of the after study, is it really working? That's our annual reporting. So this next year, we'll get this up and running. But as Susan said, we're going to be hiring 2 new full-time folks to run this program. But I believe that it's going to be a really slow start because we're going to have to use the employees that we have currently because we can't go out to hire until January of this coming year. And that's when the program's supposed to start. So I'm working with my staff to try and figure this program out so that we have it laid out and ready to go by the time we get our 2 new employees on board so that they have a process to follow and we can just turn them loose and get after it. So I will say this is the resident request form. And I will say that when you get online, this may look a little bit different. This is kind of our draft version here. The idea behind this application or this request form here is if you are part of a neighborhood association, we really like to get the neighborhood putting together a list of locations where they would want this program implemented. If you're not part of a neighborhood association or an active one, a resident could fill out the form and submit it as well. But I think ultimately I think of what I want to say here. This is not about how good of an application you can put together. If you look at this request form, it has nothing on here that is like a data-driven thing, like volume or crash history or speeds, those types of things. It does have a location where you can like check the box. Am I talking about speeding here? Yes. Am I talking about crash history? Yes. So so this form, there's not really anything that you could do to make you rank higher. It's based on the data that we collect after we have identified the locations that need to be looked at, and we go out and get that data and bring it back and start trying to prioritize based on that.
And when this went to council as part of the hearing packet, there was also a form that identified the type of information that the county staff will be collecting data on and using to make a determination on which projects will be moving forward for transparency. So as you're identifying your projects, be sure that you're looking at a local road, for example, because if you come and present a principal arterial, we're not going to be able to accept that request because it doesn't qualify. So the website will have a lot more information to help you understand kind of the parameters, and we're happy to answer any further questions you might have. And this PowerPoint will be available to your neighborhood association So you can refer back to it as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
And I think we'll be around here for a little while. We're gonna have an open session with snacks and goodies that you can do. And I'd like to just give a hand to our presenters. Laura, Andrew. Thank you so much for your time. Again, you are free to stay here as long as you like, ask some questions, give me some more information. We'll have an announcement on the elections.
Well, let's see.
So 22 ballots tonight. Thank you so much for participating and unanimous votes for all the directors. I guess I'm back for a minute here. Again, if you'd like to help us out, choosing topics, looking for speakers, that kind of thing, let me know. And with that, let's move into our neighbor to neighbor time. Have some snacks, have some water, and ask some questions, get to know some of you. Thank you again for coming.
Yeah, did you the, also, I'd just like to mention, I'm a volunteer with a group called Shiva, and we are trained by the Office of the Insurance Commissioner, and we work under the partnership with the Area Agency on Aging. We provide Medicare counseling to people. We are in open enrollment for Medicare. I hope all of you are aware of that. Well, most of you. But anyway, we started October 15th and ends December 7th. And this is the time you can take a look at your Medicare Advantage plan, your drug plan, and make changes if you want for next year. You should be looking at it if you do have a plan, because they are required plans, are making changes all the time. And you don't want to be surprised starting 2026 to find out your drug is no longer covered. So it's good to get in touch with your plan if they haven't already notified you of changes that are coming up. And we can help you with this. So up here, I have a bunch of these cute little booklets that the Insurance Commission put together. Please feel free to take one. It has all kinds of helpful information that you might use during this open enrollment period. And they're all here on this table. And I have some other information about Shiva and our phone number. So you can pick up one of these if you want to give us a call, and we can set an appointment or talk with you on the phone if you've got questions.
We also have information about the Clark Green Bay people.
My name's Dale Gaskill. In addition to being on the board of here, I am also a neighborhood coordinator under the umbrella of Clark Neighbors Food Project, an organization that many of you may know as Green Bags. What's wonderful about this project is they gather food, the coordinators like myself gather food throughout the year. So every even month, the second Saturday, we go around to our group, our neighborhood group, gather food, leave another green bag to be filled for the event 2 months later. And in our location, the food goes to the Fish Food Pantry in downtown Vancouver. And recognizing we're short on time, I'd love to pass out a card to anybody who might be interested to volunteer as well. Thank you.
And with that, we are adjourned for the scheduled part of the meeting. Again, feel free to have a good evening.
Yeah. No, I don't think
Both correct.
And let's see. hopefully
I just love the price on that. I put that on my, they're asking for a party, but
Yeah.